All right. So, Beurre Blanc.
Beurre Blanc means beurre is butter, blanc white, so white butter.
Right.
So it's a butter sauce, a French butter sauce. It's not one of the 5 mother sauces. It's actually a much newer sauce.
Ooh.
It's one of my favourites because
New World.
It's got an obscene amount of butter in.
Bounces off the palate.
Yeah, but basically it's one of those sauces that if you master it, you don't go back, and it really elevates your dishes. So I use it a lot with fish dishes.
Mm-hmm.
Salmon, grilled salmon with a Beurre Blanc, citrusy Beurre Blanc, or making a butter sauce to dip like artichoke or asparagus in.
Now you're talking.
And you know when it coats the tip of the asparagus?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Lay it down. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Right, let's get started. What do we need for this?
First up, you want to make a reduction.
Okay.
So it's like a vinegar wine reduction.
Is that like a general term? Or does everyone know what that means? Like, make a reduction.
Okay, so a reduction, we're going to start off with, so you need the base of the butter sauce. Basically, it's emulsifying. The Beurre Blanc is an emulsification of this reduction.
Kind of got it. I think I'll get it once I see it. So
Sure, let me show you.
yeah, so white wine goes into
White
a pan.
wine,
You've got the maybe like
that's like a Sauvignon Blanc. So
couple of hundred mils.
it is 250.
Okay.
And then I've got 100 mils of vinegar, white wine vinegar. I'm going to have some Campot black pepper. You can
Okay.
just put whole seeds in here. Because the reduction, we're going to strain it before we use it.
Okay.
And I know it said strain it before we use it, but just going to finely slice up some shallots to go in there. So if you wouldn't mind turning that on for me.
Yeah, sure. Low heat to start.
And it's called reduction because we're just going to reduce the volume of that liquid till it's a couple of tablespoons.
Makes sense. Okay.
So it seems a bit of a shame to evaporate most of that wine, but what it will do, the reduction will just intensify all of that vinegar and wine flavour into a couple of tablespoons, and that's the base of a Beurre Blanc. And you can have this done ready beforehand.
I feel like I bought a lot of bottles of wine that have already had reduction
You know what?
and vinegar added to them already. Maybe when I was in
When you're
way
buying cheap
early.
Blancs.
Yeah, cheap Blancs.
But it's a
Goon.
great way of using like leftover wine. You know, you've opened a bottle and you're not going to finish it. I reduce it and make this finish, and then you've got a white wine reduction ready to go to make a Beurre Blanc.
One of those hacks. Okay, it's looking good so far. No action,
Let's crank it up because I don't want to be here all day.
but wow, look at it go.
Wine.
Oof. So, is this the sort of thing you'd add to mussels? Beurre Blanc? That smell, obviously, when you have mussels with chips, sometimes you get that white wine, vinegary.
That's because the mussels, you're thinking of mousseman, which is like a traditional French dish where you cook the mussels in white wine, shallots. It's very similar, but you don't have a reduction, no.
Oh, okay.
This Beurre Blanc is a butter sauce, so we have a crazy amount of butter to go with it.
That is redonkulous.
That is almost double the amount that we started at, so about 450 grams. But the thing is, this needs to be cold, so I'm going to put this in the fridge. This is why I love using inductions. It just takes like no time at all to reduce something. So strong. See how that's reduced now?
Wow.
And it's literally like really, really concentrated.
So that's taken what, about 10 minutes of
Not even that, 5
like
minutes.
high heat, just boiling essentially.
Yeah, and I was just remembering like how when I was in the kitchen I was making reductions, like sometimes I use a red wine reduction when I'm making like a parfait or something like that. And you can put loads of herbs in there. Even if it's the same thing if you're making for our next sauce, like a jus, a red wine like reduction for a gravy or sauce. You'd have your wine, herbs, shallots, garlic. I remember in the Michelin kitchen we used to have probably the most expensive red wine reduction ever for our sauces, when it was like Madeira, port, like everything in there. It was really, really, really good.
No
but
expense spared.
it made me cry how much we're just basically evaporating away.
Yeah.
And all these expensive bottles of red wine. Oh man. But the sauce was.
I think they call that the angel's breath in the whiskey cellars, where
Oh, the chef's.
the whiskey just evaporates in the barrel. Just angel share or angel's breath or something like that.
I think it's angel share, but yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely wasn't drinking that wine. Didn't have time to at 8 a.m.
It's crazy how much goes into making something that's just effectively a bit of a sauce over your
What do you mean effectively a bit of a sauce?
A bit of a sauce. I mean, yeah, obviously.
Sauce is what
everything.
makes the dish. In my opinion, as a chef, as someone who cooks a lot, I think you can have, say, a darn good steak.
Yeah.
But if you've got a perfect sauce that matches it,
Yeah,
it
100%.
brings it to a complete dish.
Yeah.
And that's why I think like sauces are the number one thing they teach you in culinary school,
Well,
because
it's the hardest section, isn't it?
it's the hardest section because
You
it's
don't
just
start.
so much
You don't
work.
start on sauces day one.
No.
All right, Barry, jump on sauces. We need a couple of red wine jus on the double.
Barry.
No, thanks. Baz ain't touching the jus. He's on potato peeling for 6
Okay.
months.
Yeah, and if you were me, it was picking spinach leaves for, God knows, felt like forever. So you can see here in the top cam how reduced that is. That is exactly what I'm looking for. I could strain this right now before we do the next part, but I personally like infusing the Beurre Blanc with all the shallots and peppercorns still in and then strain at the end.
Mm-hmm.
It's up to you. So I'm gonna go get the butter.
Yeah, I notice it's not thick. It's still kind of got a little bit of looseness to it, but
Yeah, because you need something for it to...
and it's
not
kind of changed colour to almost like a reddish hue.
So for this crazy amount of butter, we're going to add, and I've cubed it beforehand, make it easier to melt evenly. You add in a couple of them at a time to emulsify.
Okay.
So this butter is the fat, and we're adding it to a water-based liquid that essentially shouldn't mix together, but because it's cold, and we're adding it in bit by bit slowly, it will emulsify to make one rich, thick sauce.
Oh, wow, look at it change already.
Yeah, and you just put in a couple of blocks, and imagine I'm going to try and get through probably most of that there.
And what type of butter is that, hun? Like,
It's
what,
just-
salted, unsalted?
Unsalted, and
Okay.
then you can add in seasoning at the end.
Yeah.
Only because the saltiness of certain butters does vary. You want to have a go?
Yeah,
whisk.
I can just
So
standing.
you're
I
just
can-
whisking it in. You can just stir it. You don't need to be.
Okay.
Just try and keep it in the pot.
Yeah. Add a bit more.
No. Let the other blocks. Let those blocks melt down a little bit more first. And I've got this on probably the lowest temperature possible because you don't want to heat it up and then melt the butter too quickly, and then it won't emulsify. It's a real delicate balance of getting all the temperatures around the same, so that the oils and the fats kind of come together the same time.
Okay, melted.
More?
Ready for the next 2?
How many do you
Yeah,
think?
there we go. I'll just melt that down. This is easy. This is great.
And my favourite way of, with Beurre Blanc, again, like I said, with grilled fish. So you can actually make like a citrus Beurre Blanc, where you can add into the reduction like some blood orange juice, or orange or lemon juice, to really bring out that citrus flavour. Or you can add it in at the end, but whisk it in really fast.
I think the thing I'm noticing about this is you've got to give it attention. You can't just kind of set this
Okay.
up and go watch the football, or you
wouldn't do that.
you can't take your eye off it. You've got to
Well, like most good things, you want to give it a little attention,
a
a little bit of care,
true.
steady hand,
That is true.
and a little bit of
Most
love.
things. Well, it seems to be paying off. It's looking really nice.
Keep whisking, keep whisking.
I just want to shove my head right into that. That looks
Please
so
don't,
good.
it's hot.
I just want to shove my face right into that. It looks so good.
I know what else you can shove your face into, but keep it clean, Liz. I'm working with my husband here. I'm doing my best. He's gone bright red.
2 checks on, 4 butters, peppercorns. Yes, chef. No, that's not how it goes.
It's cousin, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thank you, cousin.
Yes, cousin.
Have you seen the latest Bear?
Yeah, we sort of started watching it. Yeah, you and I started watching it.
Oh, I think I fell asleep.
Oh.
Too tired to show.
Okay.
Keep going, faster.
Okay, so realistically, it's looking pretty good, but how much more of this do we need?
Probably majority of that butter.
Wow. What?
It is a crazy amount. Don't be freaked out like you're consuming all of this, because the amount of sauce that you actually be using on the plate is quite minimal. But I mean, you can't call it a butter sauce without using a good amount of butter. And obviously it's a French sauce, so it's going to be tasty. I've actually been playing around with different flavours of Beurre Blanc on how I can make it more like Asian fusion style. Won't give away all my secrets here now though.
Very exciting.
Yeah, working on something exciting in the pipeline. A few supper clubs maybe.
Oh, tell us more?
In a bit. Not ready yet.
Okay.
Still in the R&D phase.
Alright, we'll leave that one for you guys to figure out. There's a little surprise up their sleeve there. Oh, it's quite tiring.
Imagine making this on mass in a restaurant in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And then you get right to the end and it splits because it's too hot in the kitchen. And then you have to make a reduction all again.
This is a lot.
The thing is with Beurre Blanc though is you can't really hold it for that long. You can for a little bit. You can maybe get away with like keeping the finished Beurre Blanc somewhere warm. But again, it's a real delicate balance. I'll take over.
Oh.
So we keep it on the side, somewhere warm, so like on the stove or somewhere like that is slightly warm. You can maybe keep it for maybe 1 or 2 hours. But ideally this sauce, when you're adding this element or putting the butter in and finishing it, you want to serve it straight away, just to get that richness. I mean, if you have loads left over, yeah, you can put it in the fridge, but then it turns into more like a compound butter rather than a Beurre Blanc. Nothing wrong with that, it'll still be delicious.
Need some more?
Go on. 8, too much.
Too much? Why is it too much? Is it going to cool it down too much?
Yeah, but also you want it to melt nice and evenly. Slowly, slow patience.
Okay.
If you add it all in at the same time, yeah, it'll just cool it down and it won't like get the right richness. And also, that way, when you're adding it bit by bit, you get the exact amount of when you're happy with the consistency of the butter and the butter sauce. So I haven't used all of this butter here. I think I'm pretty happy with the consistency of this. I'm just waiting for the last bit of this butter to melt. But again, if you grab my golden spoon, you want to check the consistency of this sauce for me. Add a little bit of salt here.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Wow.
You see how that just coats the spoon? It's like the butter sauce just like hugs the whatever it's touched. It's like the butter sauce is just hugging whatever, whether it's the spoon or vegetable. Go clean that. No, you click that. Right. I'm happy with that. So I'm just going to pass it. It quite literally looks like just melted butter, but much, much more.
So we don't want those. Well, we don't want the onions. We don't want the peppercorns mainly, right?
It's totally up to you. I wouldn't have personally. I wouldn't have the whole peppercorns in there because they're not very nice to bite down on. Bit of a surprise when you're having your meal.
I don't know.
Shallots are quite lovely though.
The ones we did for the peppercorn sauce were nice. They were the brined ones.
That's different. They're brine. They'll be softer.
Okay.
You know, nice pop in the mouth.
This
isn't going to give you a nice pop in the mouth.
Right. These will be too much.
Bitter.
Yeah.
But the shallots are fine. It depends on what finish you'd like to have. I mean, if you're in a restaurant, it's unlikely that you're going to have.
Yeah, I guess you don't want bits in a nice sauce.
No.
Oh, it looks great. It looks like custard.
Exactly. The way that you're... Yeah, exactly. That's the best way I'll describe it. It's like a custard.
Wow.
Beautiful, beautiful sauce. So you can finish this with some like really fresh herbs like chervil, chive, really finely sliced chives, parsley, tarragon, just to give it a really like that fine dining restaurant finish. And always add it in at the end because you don't want to cook them and you want to have that nice brightness and greenness. Gorgeous, right?
Yeah. Imagine this on a BLT with some chips would be really nice as well. Come on, guys. Am I right? BLT, chips, bit of Beurre Blanc all over the place.
Right, on to the last sauce, and it's going to be jus.
Right, let's go.